Hello and welcome to Books of Blood. My name is John, and I don't know if you can see him down there, but if you can see that large black mass down there on my floor, that is my cat Ash. So I'm hoping he behaves himself and just lays down and just chills out while I'm making this video. Anyway, it is that time of the month. Instead of being Books of Blood, basically today I am Music of Blood. I don't know. No, because it doesn't have anything to do with horror. This is that time of the month where I step away from the horror. I step away from horror books, horror movies, and focus on music. And today I'm going to be focusing on the studio albums of Led Zeppelin. I'm going to be doing a ranking of them in my personal opinion from worst to best. All right, like I said, it's my personal opinion. You may not agree with it. And if you don't and you're a Led Zeppelin fan, then please, by all means, put your ranking down. Okay? I got 8 studio albums here. All right? So, yeah. And the reason I do this basically is because, like I said, I get away from the horror a little bit. Because as much as I love horror, and my wife and I were discussing this the other day, she told me, she said, you read horror all the time. You watch horror all the time. You need to do something else, okay? And I understand where she's getting at, because horror can sometimes be a little bit depressing and it can kind of drag you down, whether you love it or not. So this is my way of doing it. Plus, I watch some comedies also, all right? Anyway, that being said, Led Zeppelin, they were formed in 1968. They ran a span from 1968 to 1980. They've done about 4 or 5 reunion tours or reunion concerts. Anyway, their lineup is John Paul Jones on bass, and I believe he did keyboards also. You got Jimmy Page on guitar, an awesome guitar player, one of the best in the world if you ask me. On vocals, you got on vocals, you got Robert Plant, one of the greatest rock and roll voices of all time, any era, okay? All right, and then finally on the drums, you have got the incomparable John Bonham. Bonzo, that's his nickname, all right? Anyway, let's go ahead and get this ranking underway. Like I said, I got about 8 albums here, or 8 CDs, excuse me. So, that being said, when I say this is from worst to best, I don't mean that they made bad albums. Led Zeppelin never made a bad album, okay? Some were better than others, some were great, and then there you go, all right? So for my pick for number 8, I believe, number 8, I'm going to go with Presence. And let me see if I can get this glare down a little bit. I hate this. I hate it. All right, is that better? There we go, Presence. Okay, what year is this released? 1976. March 31st, 1976. And on this, you got Achilles' Last Stand, For Your Life, Royal Orleans, Nobody's Fault But Mine. That was probably the main single off of that. Let's see, Candy Store Rock, Hot Song for Nowhere, and T for One. That is Led Zeppelin Presence, 1976. Okay. All right, next up, number 7. I'm going to go from 1979. This would have been, I believe, their final studio album release. Now, some people say Coda is a studio album, but it's an album of outtakes, and it's not necessarily a true studio album, okay? In Through the Outdoor was their final album. The reason that is after this was made, after it was released, their drummer John Bonham died in his hotel room. So they just decided, hey, we're not going to continue anymore. All right, and they didn't. They have done some reunions. Jimmy Page and Robert Plant have done some albums together. But as far as them coming together as a cohesive unit and making an album, that hasn't happened. And it's probably never going to. All right. Anyway, from 1979, we have In Through the Outdoor. And this is just one of the many covers. Now, originally, the album and the CD were wrapped up in like a plastic parcel paper. It was really cool. You know, and it just had Led Zeppelin and In Through the Outdoor stamped on it. Inside of it, you had about 8 different, I believe it was 4 to 8 different photo covers. And every one of them is of somebody reading a letter, and there's always somebody looking on. Right here, you can see this guy looking at this guy here. Anyway, this has, let me find my, In the Evening, Southbound Juarez, Fool in the Rain. This is actually one of my favorite songs by them. Hot Dog, Carousel, All My Love, which is a beautiful song that was dedicated to Robert Plant's son who passed away. He had a very young son. He passed away, and that was dedicated to him. A little bit of trivia about it is Jimmy Page actually hated that song, but because it was a song about Robert Plant's kid, he didn't say anything, which I thought was pretty cool, anyway. Then finally, I'm Gonna Crawl. So yeah, that is In Through the Outdoor. Right. And I've got the 2-disc edition that has like some outtakes and different versions of the songs on it. Okay, coming in at what? Number 6. Number 6, I believe. We are going to go with, from 1969, their very first Led Zeppelin. And man, they came on like gangbusters with this album. This is one of the awesome albums. Just a great album. All right, so what do we have here on the tracks? We got Good Times, Bad Times, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, You Shook Me, Dazed and Confused, Your Time Is Gonna Come, Black Mountain Side, Communication Breakdown, I Can't Quit You Baby, and How Many More Times. Yeah, man, they just came on like gangbusters with this album. All right. Okay, what do we got here? What do we got? Number 5. Am I doing this right? Oh, let's see. 8, 7, 6. Yeah, looks like it. Number 5. I'm going to go with Led Zeppelin 3. Again, that glare, man. And being a white cover like that doesn't help either. But Led Zeppelin 3. Let's see what we got here. Oh, Lord, I don't have... Oh, here we go. Immigrant Song. Man, that's just an awesome song, man. You hear that, it just gets my heart pumping when I hear it, man. Dun, 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 ah! Anyway, yeah. That was horrible, man. All right, Friends, Celebration Day, Since I've Been Loving You, Out on the Tiles, Gallows Pole, Tangerine, That's the Way, Bronnier Stomp, and Hats Off to Roy Harper. Yeah, that is Led Zeppelin 3. All right. Let's see, 876. This is number 5. I believe it's number 5. I hope so. 5, 4. No, I think this might be number 4. Oh, Lord, man, I'm just losing it here. Anyway, next up is from 1969. Also, Led Zeppelin 2. Okay. What do we got here? Whole Lot of Love. You need cooling. Anyway, all right. What is and what should never be? The Lemon Song. Thank You. Heartbreaker. And that is always, when you hear it on the radio, 9 times out of 10, probably 10 times out of 10, when Heartbreaker ends, the song Living Loving Maid, She's Just a Woman, plays right after, because they're kind of segue to do just that. So yeah, Heartbreaker, Living Loving Maid, She's Just a Woman, Ramble On, Moby Dick, and that of course features John Bonham on drums, and oh my God, it's awesome. And Bring It On Home, that is Led Zeppelin 2. Did I say? Yeah, I said Led Zeppelin 2, didn't I? Hope so, yes. All right, we are moving into the top 3. What are they? I don't know. Of course I know. I made this list. Ha ha. All right, next up from 1973, we got Houses of the Holy. Okay, that is a wild cover, man. I love that cover. Crazy cover. What do we got here on the songs? We got The Song Remains the Same. Of course, that was the name of their live album, their first live album. And The Rain Song, Over the Hills and Far Away. The Crunge, Dancing Days, Jamaica. Let me see what we got here. No Quarter. And finally we got The Ocean. Oh, these are awesome songs, man. Just fantastic Led Zeppelin tunes. And most of these songs, I mean, you can look, if you don't own the albums, I mean, you can look them up on YouTube and hear them, you know. All right, number 2. Now, some people say this is their best album. Now, I love it. It's a great album. I just don't think it is their best, but it definitely is up there. That is why I ranked it number 2. And that being said, I probably at another time and place could have named this as number 1, but I've got another album in line for number 1 that is my pick. All right. Anyway, for number 2, we're going to go with Physical Graffiti. And this was their one and only double album. All right, this was released in 1975. And what do you got on here? Disc 1, you got Custard Pie, The Rover, In My Time of Dying, Houses of the Holy, Trampled Underfoot, and the gorgeous Kashmir. Side 2, we got In the Light, Branyauer, Down by the Seaside, 10 Years Gone, Night Flight, The Wonton Song, or The Wanton Song. That may sound like wonton soup. I mean wanton, W-A-N-T-O-N. Number 7, Boogie with Stew. Number 8, Black Country Woman. And finally, Sick Again at number 9. That is Physical Graffiti. All right. 1975. Alrighty, number 1 from 1971. I absolutely love this album. All right, and if you are a Led Zeppelin fan and you're counting down on which albums I've already listed, you're gonna know what the album is. All right, all I gotta say is Stairway to Heaven. And you're gonna know what the album is, because that is the album that song. It is the album that song appeared on. I am talking about their untitled 4th album, Led Zeppelin. All right. Well, it's not even titled. It's not even titled Led Zeppelin. I mean, that's the way it was released. You couldn't even tell who the artist was on this album. All right. Some people call it the Zoso album, and that is because you have these symbols. Let me find them if they're on here. I hope they are, because they're a very important part of their history or whatever. But no, they're not. Anyway, they have every band member was asked to pick like a kind of a zodiac or astrological symbol, and it's one of them said Zoso. All right, Robert Plant picked one. Everybody picked one, and a lot of people call it the Zoso album. Some people call it Led Zeppelin 4, but truth be known, there is no title for this album, okay? But I'm going to tell you right now, this is one of the effing finest rock and roll albums of all time. Let me get over here to the track list on this thing. I mean, the thing is that this album is a great combination of rock and roll, folk, just an awesome album, man. Come on. All right, we got Black Dog, rock and roll, the Battle of Evermore. And one thing about Led Zeppelin is they were very big into J.R.R. Tolkien. There was a huge influence with Lord of the Rings and stuff like that on their music, all right? Stairway to Heaven, okay. That ended side 1. Side 2, you got Misty Mountain Hop. Oh, beautiful song. 4 Sticks. Oh, this one here, one of my absolute favorite Led Zeppelin songs, Going to California. Just a absolutely beautiful folky song. And then finally, this closes out with my absolute favorite Led Zeppelin song of all time, and that is When the Levee Breaks. All right, John Bonham's drumming on that song is just absolutely beyond compare. It is very simple, but oh my God, it is one of those songs I would like to put on and hook up every speaker I can find and just play this song out to the world, man, because I absolutely love his drumming on this, all right? And there's so many stories about how he got the effect for the drumming. In fact, people have even gone on to say that Jimmy Page himself set up the microphones and set the drum kit where he wanted it to be, and that's not true. They had an engineer that did all of that. Jimmy Page did not do stuff like that. He was a guitar player. They had an engineer that kept their guitars tuned. They had an engineer that did everything for them. All they had to do was concentrate on making the music, okay? But When the Levee Breaks, oh my God, it's actually a cover song too. But as soon as that song hits, man, it just, right here, man, just right in my gut and just up. Just gets me. I freaking love it. Okay, so that being said, that is my choices from worst to best for Led Zeppelin. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I know it is not horror. I know it is not books. I appreciate those of you who watch and do like it. Thank you for watching. Next time, I'm going to be doing a from worst to best of the 1970s, which was the best era for this artist, of one Mr. Elton John. All right, so that's going to be from 1970 to 1979, okay? Until then, we're getting ready to get back into the working week. If you have to work, if you're an essential worker, thank you. All right, if you don't have to work, stay safe and stay healthy, okay? And be careful out there. Good night. Have a great one.